Hello, and welcome to Greet the Week. I'm Mona Duncan, and today we're going to be talking about bringing it all together. Well, bringing all what together? Bringing all of life together, all of the confusions that we have, all of the answers that we might have. Just kind of bringing it together. So I'm going to pull up the screen and we'll look at it from bringing it all together. So, life's issues are all about the quality or the state of relating, how we can speak with someone, how we can, and what does it mean to relate? It means to understand, to care, to associate. Relating is to establish a logical or some kind of a casual connection so that we are working together with each other. So I thought we would look today at the three suppositions of Albert Einstein and his theory of relativity. I wrote a book back in 2006 entitled Creating Value, an Intangible in the Tangible World. And in addition to the concepts of Dr. William Glass from reality therapy, I relied quite heavily on Albert Einstein and his three suppositions. And I feel like that they just go hand in hand with so many philosophers and psychologists and intelligent people that are learning about life in general. So, anyway, he had three main suppositions. One is that the laws are the same in any system, regardless of its velocity. And we're going to look at these more independently in just a minute. The second supposition is that light is a constant and independent source of the system. It's independent. It's not man-made. It is there. It is earthly. It is independent. And then the third supposition is that an entity flowing in a successful relationship to a passive observer appears to have happened with little or no effort. Maybe you see someone that you see is just, well, they have all the breaks in life, but yet you don't really know what all they've had to learn so that they can maneuver and handle those difficult circumstances in life so that it becomes a successful way of living life. So, just a few thoughts here, breaking them down independently. The laws, starting with supposition one, the laws are the same in any system, regardless of the velocity. So, what does it mean? Breaking it down, what are laws? Well, laws are rules, they're directives, they're actions, they're principles. There are things that as we obey them, it keeps life and situations flowing more smoothly. And what about the velocity? These laws are the same in any system, wow, regardless of its velocity. Well, what is velocity? Velocity is the speed, whether it's fast or slow. It's the rate, whether it is once a day or 20 times a day, or once a month or 100 times a month. And it's the pace. It's the pace as to whether we keep continually or do we go and then stop a while. And the thing of it is because all of these things are so available to changing, then it seems as though how could it be the same in any system? It's one of those mysteries of life. And I think of it as the dripping water erodes a rock. Whenever we moved to Texas in 1960, the way the house was set up, my dad built the house, and the way the house was set up and everything, there was a constant drip, and I'm not really sure what that dripping was for. And oh, anyway, there was a rock under it that it dripped on it, and I didn't even notice it until like 20 years later that it was making an indenture in there that was being permanent. And so I left it there on purpose. It wasn't for any reason in particular. It was just a rock that was under a drip. And the rock now, I have it. I was going to bring it to show you today. I'll maybe do that the next time. But the rock has a hole all the way through, and it's in one of my many rock piles. So those things begin to erode, they begin to make meaning for it. And in thinking about this, how can they be the same? The first thing I could think of was the fable of the turtle and the hare. I mean, there was a race to be run, and the turtle, with his steadfastness and is putting one foot in front of the other and keeping on till he till it's done. The turtle was determined to win, like I say, by putting one foot in front of the other. But the hare was determined to win. But he was going to win by being cutesy little things and going ahead and coming back and going somewhere else and climbing a tree and doing various things to make it cutesy and to challenge the turtle. And so it kind of goes back to the laws are the same in any system, regardless if you're the turtle that's plodding along slowly but surely and making it to the race, to the decision, or whether it's the hare that's starting here and there and intimidating others and all that kind of stuff. Regardless of the velocity, the laws of life are the same. And I went ahead and put on here a few more: home and family, employer and employee, producer and consumers, governments and citizens. We are more alike as individuals than we give ourselves credit for. We are unique. We're very unique, but we're also more alike than we are different. So, underneath the relating with self, relating with others, and relating with nature, relating with yourself is invaluable in accomplishing ultimate purpose. Why am I on planet Earth? What is my purpose? Who can I help? How can I contribute to life in general? And looking at families, our families are pretty much by chance rather than choice. Now, there are some things we can choose. We can choose a mate or not. We can choose adoption. There are some choices that we can make, and definitely when it is by chance as opposed to choice, we can definitely make choices there that would make the family more familial. And then valuing diversity is a vital part of harmony, of getting along, of being the same. Back to the point one is valuing diversity. You have different thoughts, you have different there's just so many variables to how people differ to yet be the same and yet have the harmony to dwell together. And as we appreciate each person's unique contribution to what? To life in general, but to the knowledge that we know of them and or the interaction that we have with them. And then looking on the fact that not only are we, in our neighborhood, in our city, in our state, in our country, but also our community, our world community is growing by leaps and bounds. And many of them are migrating still. For hundreds of years they've been migrating and are migrating still to go to different states where there is a difference in the government and the citizenry and how people are treated and taken care of. And then as we obey the laws of the land, whatever land we're in, whether it is in our own individual, where we were born and reared, or what country we visit, as we begin to obey the laws of the land so that we can contribute and be a part of. And that includes traffic rules and respect of property and voting or recycling. It's taken care of. I mean, it's really sad in the USA in travels how recycling seems to not be that important to so many people on highways and so forth. And I would encourage you to really think about that. Is relating, is respecting nature and respecting others. And then in respect to the type of work you have, whether it is domestic work that you're working on your own, building your own house or doing your own garden or whatever, or whether it's volunteer work that you're just helping others without numerical income coming in, or whether it's corporate work where you are getting paid. Work is respectable. It is an object to be respected and to appreciate. And then realizing deep down, everything that I've been saying here is that we, each one, are more alike than we are different. And so point number 2 in Einstein's theory of relativity is that light is a constant and an independent source of the system. And so that independent light is outside of the planetary solar system. It is, it may be, it's constantly shining. It's constant, even though it's half of the 24 hours in a day will be dark and half of the 24-hour days will be lighter. Or no, it won't be to that exact increment, simply because there are too many variables in life in itself. It's also looking at, light. What is this light that is independent source? Is it consciousness? Is it aliens? Is it self-talk? Is it mystery? Is it divinity? Some of the things, is becoming more and more clear, and some things are staying the mystery. The light renders individual internal guidance of honest, humane behavior. I worked with prisoners for 20 plus years. And then just people in general and life in general. Light, whether it is physical light, lamp light, candle light, light in and of itself, whether it's that mystery, the divinity, the consciousness, the whatever is all so internally within us, the thoughts we think, it is a guidance for honest, humane behavior so that we can remain employed. And sometimes, those lights, do they set off condemnation? Does it begin to show you what a mess you are? Or does it send off conviction? That it say, whoa, there's some things I need to straighten up here. I can see now how dirty this place is. I can see now that we need to make some changes so that things can be healthier. And then light is the source by which we see. By which we see. And of course, the earth that goes around the sun and all the planets that go around the sun, and the sun is shining, whether it's on us or whether, anyway, it just kind of depends. But light is the source by which we see. And whether that is in total darkness, an idea comes to you that was light, that gave some value and some meaning that otherwise, but light is the source by which we see, by which we begin to make life in general work better. And so then point number 3 is an entity flowing in successful relationship to a passive observer appears to have happened with little or no effort. And so these are just my thoughts on understanding what that concept means. And this sounds kind of frivolous, but in looking at it as light happens and it keeps on happening. And that's the way it is. I mean, it's constant. It's constant that the sun's going to come up tomorrow. It's, it's constant, it's dependable. And so in teaching classes, in working with prisoners, and in teaching classes as to how to rein in robbing, raping, maiming, pillaging, angering, hurting, that kind of stuff. The disclaimer was, well, everybody's like that. Everybody's like that. Everybody's like that. And we are flawed individuals. We're also pretty fabulous individuals. So my response to everybody's like that is, I used to think that too, but now I know better. I know better because perception can change when we let the light in. We can begin to see things differently when we can look at things differently. When we can look at it, whether it goes back to being that mystery, that consciousness, that unconsciousness, whatever it is, when we can begin to see something a little bit differently and be interested in it. And so, in keeping with that, I put down here that I am one of the most successful people I know. And I just want to share with you my response. Everybody's like that. Well, you just I can't help it. That's just the way I am. Plus, everybody's like that. Well, I used to think that too, but now I know better. Perspective, which is our seeing. Perspective can change, and in so doing, behavior softens, and our relating to life, to people, to stuff improves. I'm reading from the book. I am one of the most successful people I know. Even though our material lifestyle does not measure up to what some would call success. The reason I see myself as successful is that I am content with who I am and with what we have. My health is improving, my sleep is restful, my conscience is clear, and I am happy. I see myself as successful because I have a deep inner peace. I am not devalued by criticism. I am not threatened by another's success. I hold others and myself in high regard, and I have learned how to sincerely interact in difficult situations. I see myself as successful because anger, stress, negativity, and deception are decreasing more and more each day. I see myself as successful because all my relationships are getting better and better. They are more pleasant, even in demanding circumstances. And so, just a few thoughts on change. The changing, seeing things differently is a choice. Change also can be, I put it as is, I guess that's a life experience, but it certainly can be awkward. Change seems difficult, and I suggest that it is difficult mainly because it's different from what we've fallen into a habit of doing again and again. And that change is easier once we see the reason or a benefit to change. I also suggest that change is more of an attitude than it is the action that we take. It's more the attitude that we put behind that action or behind that thought. Change can be risky. It takes a lot of courage to speak up sometimes, but also it can be well worth it. But it goes back to those three qualifiers with Einstein on determination. Change is often slow and incremental, but it doesn't have to take forever. It can happen more quickly. Change does not come from knowledge or insight alone, but by the actions that we take. about the way we respond to them, the way we eat them, the way we take them on, the way we discard them. It becomes not, more from action. Change is growth. And to resist change makes growth difficult or impossible. If we get what's this way, it's this way and only this way, we can stay so, really difficult. Change is often painful. It's painful because it's difficult to give up addictive behaviors. It's difficult to realize that, ooh, we've harmed other people, or we've not been as kind as we could have been. Change the present by changing your thoughts and your mind pictures. And then change is fun and empowering as you continue to receive light. Again, whether that's sunlight, whatever the light is, whether it's that internal light that, where'd that come from? I've got an idea here that's lighting up. And change is fun and is very empowering as you continue to receive light. So I think I have 4 or 5 reflections here, just kind of to think about, and maybe even to take into our discussion as we stop here in just a minute. What does a person's gift makes room for him mean? Effective doing is contingent upon being. Do you agree or do you disagree? To what degree are you aware of your spiritual journey or of your enlightenment? What legacy are you leaving behind? And then, what is your most recent success? Well, thoughts to think on. Think you can do it? Well, I think you can. I appreciate your being here, and many blessings to all.